It's Do Time with Pastor Steph.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Rise and shine. You're on with this Do Time with Pastor Steph. How are you this morning? That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. For this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. So, where were you yesterday? Yesterday was Let's Talk About It Tuesday Church Folk Day. And the question was posed, do we really need to go to church? Now, we know people have become real disenchanted with attending church. You know, years ago, it was something to be able to get up in the morning and get yourself together, put your finest clothes on, your church hats, your high heel shoes, everything, your finest dress or your suit, and really step out and go to the sanctuary, the tabernacle, the church, whatever it is you called it, served God, worship God, praise God. You couldn't wait to meet, your brothers and sisters. A couple of them you may have, spoken to during the week, but that was a time to praise and shout and sing and tarry and, just on and on and on. And now the world has become extremely disenchanted with going to church. Every single reason people can get stirred up not to go to church is what's going on today. Where there was excitement, there is disenchantment. Where there was someone looking forward to it, now someone is looking forward to staying in the bed, flipping through the YouTube channel, trying to figure out who they're going to look at, who their favorite pastor or preacher is, and sometimes you wonder if technology has really worked against us, because you wonder if we did not have the accessibility of having the church at our fingertips, where we didn't have to get up and get dressed and get out and travel, where it was all something people look forward to. Would we really just stay at home? If I couldn't pull up the sermon on my phone, if we were to stop right now, just Zooming and YouTubing on your church service, would you really stop even doing that? Just not going at all? Would it force people to get up? And unfortunately, that's a very challenging question, because we just might find ourselves on the side of no. People really wouldn't, because that would be another reason why they would ultimately stay at home. So, if God has stirred up in your heart, your mind, your spirit to get up and go to worship service, then you know what? Give him glory. Because you're not the only one he's talking to. He is speaking to the entire world. He is speaking to the entire world. There are tabernacles out here as big as 2,000 and 3,000 people, and they're going. But yet we find the little small local churches people are not going to. And even those 2,000-3,000 seating capacity, they're not as crowded as they used to be. And that's something that you need to give God thanks for, if he's put it on your heart and you are following it, because other people are turning a deaf ear to God's call. When you have a church service or when you have a special service and you think to call somebody, that's not God telling you to invite that person. That is God calling that person through you. There is a call on every single one of our lives now to get into the church building, to worship and praise with like-minded people. We are all struggling. We have all had some level of hurt that we're dealing with. I don't even tap it into this church hurt, but we all have a level of hurt that we're dealing with, and we need to make sure we get stirred up to go and take that thing to God, not just sit on a side of our bed and talk about how God is in our heart. That's not acceptable. Because if God just sat in heaven and just looked down and said, oh, they're in my heart, and did nothing, where would we be? And we need to start asking ourselves that question. If God treated me the way I treated him, if God didn't move on my behalf the way I am not moving on his behalf, where would he be? Am I really sounding an alarm that Jesus saves? And if I'm not, shame on me. Are the church doors not coming open for us to sit and just come in and not invite anybody? Are we not connecting with the people outside the church doors so that we can invite them into the church house? Are we failing God? Are the churches empty because we haven't done anything? Are the churches empty because we haven't done everything that we're supposed to do? Are the church doors empty because we have no fire in us, and therefore we're not stimulating anybody else? These are the questions we need to ask ourselves. That's how we spent our Wednesday. I'm moving out Wednesday, our Tuesday. Well, today is Wednesday. Wow, Wednesday. And we are getting ready to get moving with our socially conscious segment with Vivian. I'm sure she's on the other side waiting for us. So let's get this party started. Go ahead and get that healthy breakfast. Go ahead and tell somebody, anybody, everybody that it's due time with Pastor Steph is on. And whatever you do, don't go anywhere, because we will be right back.
Soaks her feet in a blend of these 3 ingredients for 30 minutes, she can detox her entire body. Each foot contains approximately 200,000 nerve endings, a direct highway to her lymphatic system, the body's natural waste-clearing network. Step 1. Hot water. As warm as comfortably possible. Heat helps open pores and encourages circulation immediately. Next, add 1 cup of Epsom salt. Its magnesium content reduces inflammation, relaxes muscles. Step 3. Half a cup of apple cider vinegar. This balances the skin's pH, breaks down toxins, and loosens everything stuck in the tissue. Step 4. Throw in rosemary, lavender, or ginger. They stimulate circulation, move stagnant lymph, and work like a biological broom. Soak for 20 to 30 minutes. Afterward, don't skip this step. Gently dry brush your feet in upward strokes toward the heart. Within days, she will notice less brain fog, deeper sleep, and clearer skin. Save this.
Good morning, and good morning again. Welcome back to It's Due Time with Pastor Steph. And it is Wow Wednesday, y'all. The day we get our girlfriend Vivian and her socially conscious segment. So let's say good morning to Vivian.
Good morning. Happy Wow Wednesday. How are you, Pastor Steph?
I am well, thank you. Good morning to you. How are you this morning, Vivian?
I'm doing well, thank you.
All righty. So you know what I like to ask you. What you got for us today?
All right, today on Socially Conscious, we are starting off with some good news. As reports say, hundreds of public schools in Washington State are being recognized for major improvements in student success. state officials announced that 379 schools across 150 districts earned recognition for the 2024 and 2025 school year through the Washington School Recognition Program. They're saying that's about 16% of the schools statewide. They're highlighting significant progress in education. These 379 schools were recognized in key areas like academic achievement, student growth, and closing opportunity gaps. Some schools showed major improvement in test scores, attendance, and graduation rates, while others stood out for helping student groups make some of the biggest gains in the state. Officials say that this recognition reflects the combined efforts of the students, the teachers, and the families, pointing to stronger engagement and support systems, helping drive these types of results. So shout out to the 379 schools out in Washington State that have just shown great improvement from the school year last school year. Next, unfortunately, we have some not so good news. I figured I'd start off with some good news and then break your heart. But they are saying get ready to pay more to stay cool this summer, unfortunately. Experts are warning that cooling costs are expected to rise yet again, with average electricity bills projected to increase by about 8 to 9% compared to last year. So if you thought your bill last year was high, it is going to be even higher this year. That means many households will see noticeably higher monthly expenses as air conditioners run longer and more often. The increase is being driven by a mix of factors, including higher energy prices, and they are suspecting it to be a hotter summer this year, which means that the push for demand across the country will be going up. And places like, of course, New York, that can mean more days of extreme heat and longer periods of heavy AC use. Officials are encouraging us to prepare now by managing energy use and making homes more efficient. So if you can get yourself a energy efficient air conditioner, if you can start from now, using less electricity from now so that your bill can be a little bit lower in preparation for the higher bill in the summer. Whatever you can do to prepare your household, do so as soon as possible because the bills will be going up. Next, I came across an interesting story as they are saying an NYPD captain is facing consequences after being caught on camera criticizing Mayor Mamdani. They're saying he is a high-ranking NYPD officer in Brooklyn, and he was recorded making comments about the mayor, calling him, quote, an embarrassment, end quote, during the height of protests tied to recent ICE activity. The video quickly spread across social media, adding fuel to what they are saying is already rising tension between city leadership and law enforcement. In response, NYPD has actually decided to remove and transfer this captain from his command. They're saying that by doing this, they want to make it clear that his comments were inappropriate for someone in a leadership role. Officials have not publicly identified this officer as of yet, but the incident is now part of a larger conversation about professionalism in the NYPD department. So the moment comes as tension continues to grow between the mayor and police, especially following the recent protests and debates around immigration enforcement and public safety. So of course we want to hear from you. Were they right to transfer him and remove him from his position because he was talking badly about Mayor Mamdani? Or are they doing too much and just trying to make an example out of him? And now we have our wow story of the week. They're saying that a child out in Houston caught a CPS caseworker, allegedly telling her to sell her body as a way to make money during a home visit. So the 14-year-old girl's mother had actually reached out to Child Protective Services for help, saying her daughter has been struggling with behavior issues, including running away from home. So she called them and asked them to take temporary custody of her, probably to teach her daughter a lesson. And this is what winds up happening. They're saying instead of providing guidance or resources, the worker's response shocked the family, and the teen captured it on video. The recording, of course, quickly spread across social media, drawing strong backlash from the public and advocacy groups, who say this highlights serious concerns about how vulnerable children are being handled within the system. This happened out in Texas. So the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services confirmed the incident. So is it really allegedly? They terminated the employee and issued a formal apology to the family, calling the comments unacceptable and not reflective of their standards. So the young girl in the video was heard asking for something to eat and other requests, and the CPS worker said, if you really want to be a HOE, then be a real HOE. Go out and sell yourself. That's how you make some money. Officials have not released the worker's name, but the situation has already raised larger questions about training, supervision, and accountability within the child welfare agencies, especially when families are reaching out for help and support like this mom did. Wow. But this has been Vivian with Socially Conscious News, giving you the news that we are following. And remember, if you have any wild stories you would like to submit, please feel free to direct message me on Facebook. My username on there is Vivian BM, and come back every Wednesday to find out if your story has been chosen. Thank you, as always, to our loyal viewers and listeners, and thank you, Pastor Steph.
Vivian, thank you. I want to just get a little clarity before you go. The statement that the CPS worker made came at what point?
During a home visit.
So I'm saying during the conversation that was it like advice that she was just giving her, or was it, say the phrase she used again? Thank you, please.
So they said that the girl was asking her for like something to eat, saying that she didn't have any money, and the CPS worker said, if you really want to be a HOE, then be a real HOE and go out and make some money.
Okay. That clears it up for me. Thank you so much for girl. You always get your wild stories. I keep asking where you find these wild stories at. Thank you so much for your contribution into today's conversation, and we pray you have a blessed day.
Thank you. You as well.
Thank you. Oh, all right. We got to go a little backwards today, as we always do, because we have to grab Vivian when we can. So let's say good morning to all of our viewers. I'm sure we got some comments up in here based on Vivian's stories. So we're going to start with saying good morning to anyone who has checked in with me. So if you're in the room, make sure you check in, because other than that, I have no clue you're in the room. Let's say good morning to Serge. Hey, Serge. Thanks for joining us this morning, and happy traveling to you. We got to check in from our girl, Ketty. Hey, Ketty girl. Thank you so much for joining us. We got a B. Hask. I don't know. Good morning. Oh, hope I'm saying it right. Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us. Adele is in the house. Good morning. She was showing off the other day, and she was on this side of the fence, as I always say. We got a check-in from our girl, Anika. Thank you so much. We're going to say good morning to you again. And, let me read some of these comments and just get these out of the way. We got to check it from our girl, Lady Tamika, who we'll be seeing on this side of the fence in a second. And Adele says, I've been saying this all 2025. Y'all start learning energy efficiency and practice it. Most cops are not professional, but it doesn't matter anymore because they just took away our rights to vote as citizens. And Katie is saying, yeah, this is a wild story. And Adele is shaking her head. Well, we want to say good morning to the ladies that hold it down for us every day. Let's say good morning to Shantice. Good morning. We're going to be looking at her on the other side of the screen in a second. And again, we're saying good morning again to Anika. Thank you so much for holding us down. If Ms. Grace is out there, good morning. Hope that you are having a wonderful morning. And we are going to get started with our conversation. Where my ladies at? Where my girls at? Hey, Lady Tamika, let's say good morning.
Good morning. Happy Wow Wednesday to you. How are you?
I am well, thank you. Happy Wild Wednesday to you too. Where you at? In Puerto Rico? Girl, I need to have your sunshine. Oh my goodness gracious. And boy, you look real tropical today. Let's say good morning to our girl Shantice. Hey Shantice.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Fine, thank you. How are you?
I am well, thank you. I am well. All right. Let's get started with these stow rays. All right. Well, Vivian started us off with a bit of celebration. Schools across Washington State, 379 schools, I believe, and across 150 or so districts. Through the 24-25 area, they have definitely stepped up their game and have shown they did show significant progress in their academics, in their opportunity growth, attendance, graduations, and this is all due to a combined effort between the students, the teachers, and the families. And, we've always heard the opposite side. So we are definitely celebrating this scholastic upswing. All right, Lady Tamika, what are we talking about today? Is this something to celebrate or what?
Absolutely. Anytime a school is doing something like this, and I'm looking at faces and I'm looking at hands, I think it's an amazing thing. And I think, whenever one school, wherever, is achieving, they need to be able to provide that information to other schools in other states so that, they can get one up, whatever it is that they're doing, now that I think about it, we're looking at the cohesiveness between staff, student, and parent. That's a beautiful thing. Show us how to do it so that we can do it too.
Absolutely. Shantice, we got 379 schools across 150 districts. Is this reason to celebrate or not?
It definitely is, with all of the news regarding school shootings and not even someone coming to shoot up the schools. The students bringing weapons to school, teachers putting their hands on students, and these bullies and all of this that's been going on in our communities. It is really good to hear that schools are actually doing what schools are supposed to be doing, excelling academically. teaching these children how to get along well with others, because if we're not getting along well with others, we can't focus on classwork. If we can't focus on classwork, then we can't have stats like this that show that there's an increase in graduation rates, increase in school activity, increase in, all of that. There can be no peace of mind amongst the faculty and staff because they're so busy having to deal with all of the other unnecessariness and buffoonery. So this just goes to show that across the board, they're becoming a lot more well-rounded and focusing on the things that once upon a time used to be the focus in schools.
All righty. Well, I definitely agree with you, ladies, and Vivian. It is definitely time for us to celebrate. Like you said, by us doing news, we just did news the other day about the teacher and student interaction, where it was bruh, and, he could not, he didn't like the disrespect. If you're talking about an upswing in attendance, academic student growth, opportunities, graduation, this is definitely a combination of work between the students, the families, and the teachers, because you couldn't get any of these things done if there wasn't cohesiveness, like you said. So, taking into consideration that we've got these kids, striking teachers and teachers striking kids, and, no one's respecting anyone anymore. We've prayed a few times for, the students, the parents, and the teachers. And thank God that he's showing answered prayer, definite answered prayer. So, shout out in Washington State for all the great work that's being done. Keep up the good work. And I agree with you, Tamika, this will be infectious. When you hear that they're celebrating publicly, openly, this, other states are going to want to be on the radar as well. So I agree with you. Yeah, you know what? Put it out there. Adele is officially saying good morning and happy Wednesday. So good morning to you as well.
Yeah.
All right. Well, as we always anticipate, but they're giving us a bit of a warning that we will have to pay to stay warm. But if we're just like Tamika, we won't need to have no air conditioning assistance because she is already nice and cool. But we better be energy efficient because the electricity rates are going up, and that's due to higher energy pricing. And I always say to people, this is a trickle effect. If they're having an energy increase, now it goes down, and Vivian is reporting that 8 to 9% is going to affect each and every one of us, also due to an anticipated higher temperature this summer. So we're going to get higher heat and higher pricing. Shanti's.
It's the last thing Pastor Steph needed to hear. Oh, goodness. I'm going to have to start coming up with some tactics from now. Thank God where I reside is always cool. It doesn't always work for me in the winter, but surely in the summertime. But again, one of the things that, because I'm that neighbor on the block that when we get a blackout, I'm standing literally screaming at the mountaintop, like, cut off the air conditioners. It's like we have to be considerate of each other. I know you hot. I know I'm hot. But why do you got 4 ACs in your house and all 4 ACs are on? So forget everybody else who may be hot on the block. Now we done blew out everything because you want to keep every single angle corner of your house cool. I believe if we're considerate, if we come up with different tactics on how to stay cool between 3 and 5, and then maybe 5 to 6, we can use our air conditioning. It might be a little different, So this is just now, I feel like this is our opportunity now to get a little creative. Sit with the Lord and ask God, how can I do my part in saving energy Really, because it's just like, so like, come on, y'all, come on. But how can I do my part in saving and get a job so you're not at home running the air conditioner all day? So for those who are retired, who are elderly, who have to be home all day, it doesn't mean they can run theirs all day, but they have to be home, so definitely some foresight for us to do what we need to do.
All righty. All right, Lady Tamika, you already knew that Vivian was coming with this segment this morning. This was going to be one of her items. So you were giving us the visual to her report. Is that what's going on?
But of course, it just wouldn't be me if I didn't do that. So, you dealt with this winter. You said, okay, stuff is going up, bills are going up, but I got to keep my house warm. So, all right, I'll eat it. So at least I get a break in the summertime because I don't have to run the heat. Now you got an issue with the air conditioner. Now, if you're like me, I got every window in the house open already. And from time to time, I will run that ceiling fan. I personally don't prefer the air. You might, but for those that do, be cautious, be careful, be wise. Like if you're working from 9 to 5, you don't need the air on all day long. Me and my brother used to argue all the time about that. Like, you're not home, you got that air running all day long. And then when you get home, so I would come in and unplug stuff because it used to drive me crazy. Like, you have not been there in 8 hours. Why is it running to that degree?
Wow,
and we go through this every year where they caution us about things that we do and what time we do it. And, if you're not home, you don't need it running. Run it when you get home, so that somebody else. But again, in this world that we live in, it's always me, me, me. I don't care about anybody else.
Shantice, I thought she was going to go, Lady Tamika, I thought she was going to go through her, say neighbor. That's what I thought she was going to do this morning. Yeah. But, like Shantice said, there's going to be some issue. It's going to be a hostile situation. Y'all better get some of them church fans in your house and get the waving.
Or them fans we keep caution about that flap. Get that.
That's right. Or start doing where your fans at? Where your fans
exactly.
at? Yeah, you better start doing that. Like you said, Tamika, all jokes aside, we get hit all the time. When the winter time comes, we're hit with high energy pricing from our gas or our oil, whichever one you have in your home. And then in the summertime, you hit from the opposite end of energy increase because now the electricity goes up and people need to understand they make their money. They make their money even before they were claiming energy increase. I'm telling you, I learned a long time ago as a homeowner that when you have in the summertime, the energy company increases their rates. And in the wintertime, that energy company increases their rates. Either way, they stocking it to you. So, as Vivian was talking, I'm already in my head saying, okay, I better start, arranging things so that the room is cooler. So when they talk about becoming energy efficient, a lot of clutter, it doesn't allow the air to circulate.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't allow the air to circulate the same. When you open your windows, I had to explain to somebody the other day, the cross breeze happens. So you don't just open it on one side of the room, open it up on the other side of the room, because that cross air will help to make it cooler a lot. Let me tell you something, these blackout drapes, they do help your house stay cooler as well. They're keeping out the sun rays. And a lot of times, when you open up your windows, that helps to bring the heat in. So there are a lot of different things that we can do, to make it a little cooler. Is it going to be equivalent to your air conditioner? No, but it will help. Again, like Lady Tamika said, the ceiling fan. I'm going to tell you something else that works wonders. Window fans. Window fans are great, especially in the evening when it's cooler, because it pulls in whatever little cool air is pulling in that cool air. So you may not have to run necessarily an air conditioner. So start working now. And then once she starts, I was like, oh no, I got to make 5-10 minutes every hour to, put the bags up or the boxes up, or get your place together, so that you can become a little cooler and you don't have to, don't block your windows. Make sure that, your windows have enough space so it can bring in some air and things like that. And like Shanti said, be mindful of the entire neighborhood running air conditioners, because it's better that everyone have a little air conditioner than for all the power to go out and no one have any air conditioning or any fans or anything like that. So let's work together. Let's work together, peoples. Oh, we got to check in from Miss Grace officially. Hey, Miss Grace, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. And we got to check in from Miss Herlima. Good morning. Thank you for joining us, Miss Herlima. All right. Well, another person with a camera losing a job. This seems to be the trend these days. So we have an NYPD captain who is facing consequences now because they decided that they wanted to go viral on whatever social media platform that it went viral on, as they were shouting out their unhappiness and criticizing Mayor Mamdani, calling him, out for some of the stuff that I guess they felt that he wasn't doing correctly. Well, it went around to the right people, and this captain has been removed and transferred to another area because they're trying to make it clear that you cannot get on your social media, your phones, or whatever your device is, and just say and do what you want to do. So Vivian is asking, do we feel it's appropriate, for them to transfer, this particular captain, or possibly lose their job, because the professionalism is not there. Professionalism has been called to question for the NYPD, as always. And there's a lot of tension that has come up between the NYPD and Mayor Mamdani. So, is this a little too much? Listen, people have a right to free speech, and you should be able to say what you want to say. Again, on your device, on your time. Doesn't necessarily have to be, during work hours or anything like that. We've had several stories come through. Does this ring the same? Lady Tamika?
We're going to get to a point where we learn when you work for certain things and somebody specifically signs your paycheck, what you can and cannot do. I remember when I used to work for New York Test and Trace. Now we worked under the government, and when we got our check signed, it literally had, certain names, and they literally told us what we could and could not do, regardless of how you felt about, vaccinations or not vaccinations or whatever that case was, or COVID, how you felt about the way that people were being treated with COVID. You could not say certain things. You didn't have liberty to do that. We are getting to the point now, especially within the last couple of days, that they're showing you clearly cannot say and do anything you want to do. And then, it's one thing when you say it amongst your circle. You took it to the extreme. Technology wins every single solitary crime. And once again, here goes my saying. I said it yesterday. I'm going to say it again. You had how many jobs? One job. Let's do that.
So that's your tagline. And Shanti says, look at your neighbor. So Shanti's, What do you think? Do you think that, transferring this police captain, this NYPD captain, was a little too much? And, listen, you have free speech. Or, you know what? This is the consequences you have to face.
I really hope this wasn't one of us.
No, you gotta say it the right way. This wasn't us's.
Yeah, this wasn't part of the dark skin clan. I'm really hoping, especially if this was the first time he's hearing about how you really feel. Now, if I don't know what he told you, and now you coming across this, well, I ain't got no business doing it no way. But stop acting all flabbergasted, okay? And again, you know you ain't doing nothing. But at the same time, we cannot pour out our grievances, our concerns, what makes us upset, what we don't approve on. And then you're not just an average officer. You're the leader. Mm-hmm. So now you're teaching your subordinates how to be insubordinate. You're teaching them how to be disrespectful. You're teaching them how not to handle when they don't like something. Because I'm pretty sure there's a whole lot of them who don't like you, whether you're doing your job right or not. But there's still a way to go about it. So more importantly than if you're right, because that's what used to always get me in trouble. Like, why did you say that? And my question was always, am I lying? Am I lying? I learned that from Apostle Ernie. Am I lying? Because if I ain't wrong, then shut up. That was my mentality to I didn't care. Everybody. But the Lord had to teach me, just because what you're saying is correct does not mean that you're correct in saying it. Right. At all, or the timing and in the way in which you're saying it. So with you being a captain, I'm pretty sure that there would have been an opportunity for you to stand on the mountaintop and say, he ain't doing nothing like the previous mayor. But no, you just had to just go above and beyond and create your own opportunity. And now you're getting transferred. So okay. I really don't understand how you're all shocked and appalled that there has been any type of reprimand. But
we stand corrected. Vivian says he was recorded saying it. He didn't take to social media to vent, if that makes a difference. Okay.
That makes a huge difference.
Thanks, Viv. Thank you for the clarity. So, Lady Tamika, let's go back a little bit, Shanti's. Lady Tamika, do you feel that makes a difference?
No. You cannot do that. You don't get the freedom, the liberty. I work for you. I signed my name. And so again, especially considering the rank that you're in, and you better be glad that it's just that they're transferring you, because they could have easily just said, bye-bye.
Okay. Shanti's, does this make a difference to what you were saying?
It does. In regards to, was I confiding in someone? And this is so crazy because I was just talking to someone last night about this venting thing and how God tells us in Proverbs that only a fool vents, because see, when you vent, you're just spewing out how you feel. You don't really take the time to analyze who you're talking to, who you're around, so on and so forth. So this could have been someone who had it out for you, now they recorded you, now they got the circulating throughout social media. But if you felt like this is an isolated conversation and I'm speaking to someone, because again, at the same time, you have to understand too, as a leader, it's really hard to talk to people. So if I find, and if I feel like I have that one or two people that, I may have already been holding this in, as the captain, I'm pretty sure this ain't the first time he felt like this. And as soon as he felt like this, he just started talking. This was probably like, okay, you know what? This is how I'm feeling. I ain't feeling him. He ain't doing nothing, whatever he was saying. And now somebody else who was overhearing probably done recorded this and had it, circulating. So while we need to learn to be careful about obviously who we're talking to, if I'm not making this public and this is a one-on-one conversation, then you really, Mom Donnie is the one who transferred him?
No, probably not. No.
All right. Well, whoever did, shut up. Because I'm pretty sure that there's a whole lot that you got going on with you that if God was to expose a lot of your secret conversations, you wouldn't have the position in multiple areas of your life that you have. So if I'm having an isolated conversation, someone's happening to overhear me and they make it public, that is completely different. That's completely different than if I was to record something intentionally and post it. That's what I thought it was. But
That's
no,
what I did too.
yeah, but no, I'm talking to Pastor Steph about Mayor
Tamika?
Mamdani. Right. I'm talking to Pastor Steph about Tamika, and Pastor Kale overhears and records and sends it to her. Oh, well, guess what? Now he's a fool, and so are you. If you mad at me, for you mad at him. Okay, so yeah, we.
But okay, it makes a difference for me as well, but it shifts my caution. So I was going to, as you know, you both have, just give the cautionary information. It just shifts my caution. So it's different, like Vivian said, if it makes a difference, you actually hold it. Like we know people have done, remember that there was a lady, on her own time, using her own device. She wasn't on a job or anything like that. She recorded the unhappiness with, I think, the government or something like that, and she lost her job, or with one of the officials. That's what happened, and they fired her. When you are venting, it needs to be private.
Right.
You really need to make sure, especially as a captain, like Shanti said, especially as a leader, you really need to make sure that this is an isolated conversation. So to use the example that Shantice gave, it needs to be you having this conversation with Lady Tamika by yourselves, just the two of you. You vent. Anytime you're venting around any group of people or any more than one or two other people, you run the risk of what you say getting out, and it may get out to the wrong people. So that's what happened. Wherever he was venting, he probably was venting in maybe the break room.
Bad place.
You know what I'm saying?
In the bathroom. Bad place.
Right. You're venting on the premises. You're venting, when you are with your coworkers. Although they may be subordinates, you all are probably saying the same thing and feeling the same way, and you have the loudest voice. And now what you say becomes viral. Now what you say gets out past that group of people that you were venting in front of, and everybody's feeling the same way, but now you're caught saying what you were saying. So you need to learn that what you say needs to be private. And private means you and your wife. That's it. That's it. You can't trust people. You cannot trust the people, even though they feel the same way you feel. You cannot trust them. You cannot rely on what you're saying and who you're saying it around to stay isolated. And that's what's happened here. So, there was going to be a word of caution, and asking, you ain't read what happened to the other people who have been vocal openly. But, he was not vocal openly in his opinion. He was on his job, and unfortunately, you were around the wrong people, because I go back to what Shanti said. There are probably people that are waiting to out you. They hate you. And now that you gave them the ammunition they needed to be able to do what they did. We got to check in from Pastor KL. Hey, Pastor KL, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Well, we got our wow story, ladies. So a parent out in Houston who was having problems with her 14-year-old daughter called CPS, asking them to give her a hand with her daughter and asking them to take temporary custody of her because she's having some, disciplinary problems with her. She's running away from home, blah, 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 blah. And during the conversation with the CPS worker, the conversation between the 14-year-old and the CPS worker, she asked for something to eat, and the CPS worker said, you know what, if you want to be a HO, then go be an HO. Do it right, pretty much. This is how you get it done. If you're going to do it, then go ahead and do it. And guess who was taping? Didn't she say the 14-year-old was recorded? Well, somebody was recording. Again, an isolated conversation. Now recorded. And now she has, lost her job. The CPS office has, offered an apology, and, telling, the family that, we don't operate like this, and, we're sorry. Shantice.
Who apologized?
The CPS, overall apologized. And Viv said, yes, the child was recording. Again, we just got finished talking about this. Something supposed to be isolated. Child.
Well, CPS stands for Child Protective Services, right?
Yes.
So I guess there's no more P. Like, what? At what point did you wake up and say, you know what, I'm gonna just be destructive? The next kid that I get called for, I'm gonna just, because this is who you are. This wasn't I'm having a bad day, or just this particular child, the case, the summary I read over, or she just said or did some things, one or consecutive things. Like, what? You said what to her? And you didn't think that was going to get back? Even if she wasn't recording, you didn't think she was going to go and say something to somebody else, which would have already planted that thought of you saying that in someone else's head? Like, so now, were you trying to pimp her? Was you saying a ha-ha? Was it really a ha-ha? Were you really going to figure you going to make some money off this girl? Because how could you say that and really think you was going to keep anything? Keep your privacy, keep your job, keep your sanity, keep your anything. People are just so disgustingly reckless that they are just saying whatever. See, this whole vet, we need to be Vet Wednesdays. This whole vet thing, I'ma just say what I want to say. And you really acting that surprised when the consequences come. That is just horrible. Or because I asked for something to eat.
Okay.
Wow.
Lady Tamika.
Now y'all know. Here come that tagline again. You have. Count them. One job. Just one. You were supposed to go in there and see how it is that you can benefit this child, this parent, assist. And you decided, because this child said that she wanted something to eat. This is what happens when you get Peaches to work at a place like that. Y'all know she means me, right?
Seriously, because if I asked for help and that came,
that's sister
Oh.
girl. That's
Yeah.
Peaches.
No!
Peaches didn't have enough common sense to say, okay, let me handle this job with decorum. Peaches went in there and told her, you want to be this? Let me show you how to really do what you think you need to do. This is what
Oh, my
happens
goodness.
when you hire
That's funny.
Peaches for this job. Peaches don't take her job seriously at all.
my
Peaches been on the street all her life. She got this one job. Somebody gave her a pass and she went in there and said what she wanted to say. and do what she wanted to do. And now this shot had no idea that she was being recorded, but just common sense. Do your job. The one job that you were given, do it.
All right, y'all are not gonna like this because I ain't looking at it this way. That's why I had to ask Vivian for clarity. Okay, so you're talking from a person who has had a million conversations under a million different circumstances. I don't believe it was cut and dry like that. It's not even following a train of normal thought. So I ask for something to eat, and then you bust out with this. Nah, that's not hitting with me. That's not making sense. That's why I had to ask Vivian. So at what point was this said? Now I understand that this is on recording. Hold on, let me read what Vivian is saying here. Hold on a second before I finish saying. So Vivian says, I feel like she was trying to pimp her for real. What an ideal situation for her. Shaking my head. We did the sex trafficking scenario game on With All Due Respect, and this is a perfect scenario. Okay. All righty. Okay, so Viv got a whole different thing. Okay, so I don't agree with that either. I don't see this, and like I said, I'm not right. I may not be right, but I just see it completely different. So this is not making a whole lot of sense to me. And this, let me explain to you why I say this and why I say to you, people, let me tell you some conversations. I have sat with people. So I sit with Tamika. So I get an incident report. Oh, there's this big thing going down out in the warehouse. So I sit with Tamika, and Tamika tells me everything. This heartfelt story, tears, anger, frustration. You know, she knows what she's talking about. She don't make mistakes. And then the person who she has an altercation with, to Shantice, I sit with Shantice, and Shantice tells me her side of the story, and blah, 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 blah. So now there's always some gray area in between, because as much as everybody is passionate about what they're saying, let me tell y'all something. There is nothing like getting the two people together. Because when you get the two people together, everything shifts. All these tears and anger and crying, and I've had people retract their statement, and I'm like, you just said blah, blah, blah. You just wrote blah, blah, blah. And well, that's the way I thought I heard it. And, I must have, misunderstood. After all of that, now you must have misunderstood. The train of this train of conversation ain't making a whole lot of sense to me. So I'm sitting with you. So they call you to the house and they say, listen, you know what? Shantice is acting up. Y'all need to come take her, because either she going to jail or I'm going to jail. One of us going to jail. Come take her. And I'm sitting with her. She asks for something to eat. And my response is, well, if you going to be a hoe, then be a hoe. If you're going to do it, then do it right. Be a hoe this way. That sounds more to me like, you know how when people talk to you and say, listen, you trying to be fast, then be fast. Let me tell you how fast really gets done. This is how fast really goes. The way you doing it, you only gonna get yourself in trouble. You're not gonna get nowhere. You got a nice home. Do what you need to do. I'm not seeing this as like a sex trafficking thing. I'm not seeing it as, she's trying to pimp her out. That's not coming to my mind. And like I said, I may not be right. Y'all may be right. But something is off here for me. It's not clicking. And it could be because we're not actually getting the actual recording. B, because this is coming second, third, fifth hand. C, because did the person who wrote the article, were they the ones who actually heard the recording, or is this somebody in the house then told this story and now the story has become convoluted somehow? Because we all played the telephone game. All you need to do is miss one word and the whole train of the sentence is now askewed. So for me, I'm not hearing this in this social worker who's, because that's what she is, because that's who works for CPS, this social worker who's, and not only that, you have been called, this is why I say this don't make sense to me. You have been called to come take her. Why have this conversation in the house? That's not making sense to me. You have been called to take her out the house. Mom has said, listen, I can't deal with her. And I don't want to end up behind the 8 ball for her. I want you to pull her out this house so maybe y'all can show her what it really is to be in a group home, to be without a good home, to be without a decent family. Let her see how the other side really lives. And you don't even get her in your car before you have this kind of conversation with her? Because if she was trying to sex traffic her, if I had to go with that scenario, there's 1,000,001 ways she could have gotten this done outside of the household. So instead of saying, you know what, Mom wants us to pick you up, take you out because you really are not appreciating the home that she has provided for you. So I'm going to take you to a group home. And once she get her in the car, on the way, she says, you know what, well, let me tell you something. You know, Mom says you've been running away. If you really want to, do this thing, I can teach you how to get it done. That's why I said this ain't in the house. This ain't making sense to me. Vivian says maybe like, oh, you don't have money to get something to eat. I can help you make some money. Like I said, I might be wrong. But that again, all of these scenarios in the home, this conversation, even that scenario that Viv just gave, in the house, that ain't making sense to me. You would have had let me tell you something. Ain't nobody who's sex trafficking you gonna do this in front of everybody. Since when you so brazen, people do that kind of stuff undercover. They don't talk about it in front of everybody. They whispering on the side. They sneaking, texting. Yeah, I got this one. We finally got her out the house. I'm gonna bring her to you. That's why it's not making sense to me. And like I said, I could be 100% wrong, but something ain't making sense to me. Not that in the house. No, I don't know. I don't know if y'all want to respond. I don't know. Not that you need to
want to see the video. I want to see the video. That's my response. Because I agree with Lady Tamika as well. I'm mad if I call and ask for help and they send someone who look like they've been strolling on Jamaica Avenue. There's like no type of, and see, I also blame these businesses, these jobs. It's like there's nothing that calls for any level of decorum, any level for elevation, any level for anything anymore. You can come and look like you just rolled up out the bed and barely scraped the crust out your eye to then report to a site. Why you got a t-shirt on? I don't care how hot it is. Why you have jeans on like this? You don't even have jeans with heels on. I don't like, no. When do social workers look like this? When do social workers look like they running into Denise to buy a t-shirt real quick? Why? Why? I would be mad at that. That's part of the reason why I agree. All that complicated. You could have said a whole lot of stupid stuff. Because look at how you're presenting yourself. You could be the smartest person. You could be the best social worker in that company. But at me looking at you, I'm questioning them. So you need to be apologizing for the way she showed up. Because this is how she shows up to the office.
I'm going to say this. I have had a problem with the dress code for a many profession. And I'm pulling out the teachers. I'm trying to figure out why the school has pushed uniforms Y'all trying to push uniforms for the students, but the teachers look like they didn't just came from the track meet. Y'all got sweatshirts on and sweatpants and jeans and sneakers, and I'm trying to figure out who's and in high school. Oh, forget it, because everybody dresses down. You can't tell and all the teachers look like the kids' age. You can't determine who the students are because there's no professional look. I have this here ever since we went to my niece's she had something at the high school, and I'm standing out there and I'm with my mother. I'm saying, that's a teacher, because they look very young, and not only that, they don't have a dress code. Right. And I'm saying to myself, well, wait a minute, y'all pushing. At that time, my niece had to wear either black pants or khakis, and they had to have on a uniform shirt. So I'm saying they are mandated to dress uniformly. So whether it's uniformly as in everybody dressed the same, or uniformly as in an up dress, not just your jeans and sneakers type of thing. Why aren't the teachers mandated to have a certain dress code as well? Everywhere you go, everybody is dressed just like this. So I agree with you 100%, Shantice. Just the way nobody goes in with their suit on anymore. I've seen, I know someone who was at the time she was a social worker. She probably still is. She was a social worker, and I used to meet her periodically. And I'm looking at her and I'm going, so one day I said, y'all ain't got to dress up? And she was like, no. And I'm like, wow, y'all walking up in people's houses with your everyday look? I don't care nothing about no lanyard around your neck. I should be able to see from because again, you behave the way you dress, which is one of the reasons why the school mandates also a dress code, a policy, because they're hoping that with a uniform look comes a uniform behavior. But if y'all are not mandating this in adults, what? So do we do it as kids, and then when they get into the workforce, now there's no more dress code. So so Shantice, you have raised and I'm that did kill. I even look at the way they go on interviews now. Years ago, you'd have to put on a suit. You'd have to dress with your heels on. And if you go back to my grandmother time, she'll tell you had to have a hat and gloves on. Yep. So you don't have to do that. But look at the way they go into the courthouse now.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
The female attorneys.
Oh my.
The courthouse now. They used to have on their suit or their business dress with a jacket. Now I'm like, you representing who? So I think this is an entire issue of you walking through the door, and again, your mentality is going to reflect, your dress is going to reflect your mentality. I don't know, Lady Tamika, what you say? Because Shantice, you had a thing.
Well, that was my whole thing, because that was the first thing I looked at. I was like, Shantice, please show the picture one more time. Just one more time, please.
It's really bad. I think Well, wait a minute. I cut my eyes. I gotta stop trying to look at y'all's screen and look at my own screen. Wow.
Y'all know that's Peaches. That's
on Fordham Road.
She related to Shanae. That's Peaches. I'm just saying, the representation. Okay, so my god sister, she worked for social services, and she had a specific attire. Not because that's what they mandated, but that's what she did. And when she went out, she represented. When I see something like that coming through my door, in general, and maybe she might have been trying to guard this child the right way, but there are certain things that you cannot say. like, you go there and you want to be in such and such, and I can see what you're saying, Pastor Steve. I can see that. She probably looked at her and said, oh, is this what you want to be? Oh, well, let me show you how this works. But again, the timing,
your wording and everything is off.
There's a way that you could have said that that made that all the more better.
Absolutely.
This is not the way that life is run. Let me show you. That's not saying it right then and there, even if that's what you felt. And sometimes you get agitated with these children because these children will take you there. But again, what you say, how you say, you represent this company. You represent CPS. You cannot do and say anything that you want to do. We keep seeing it. It's evident. It's everywhere that you go. You have to watch what you say. Even in settings like that where you figure out it's just you and the child sitting there recording you to your face.
Right. I agree. And I hope that, there was no inference made with, it was fine for her to say, well, if you want to be a hoe, then be a hoe. No, like I said, I definitely, I agree with you 100%. If you want to send that message, because I've said it from the pulpit, but I didn't say if you want to be a hoe, then be a hoe. I didn't, so like, you know what I'm saying? And they'll tell you, I'm saying it. Listen, if you're going to do it, then let's do this right. That makes the like you said, Lady Tamika, that makes all the difference. Listen, you want to run away? You want to be somebody in the street? Listen, we can work that out. I can show you what it looks like to be out on the street. So I agree with you. The wording, she shifts everything. So even if she had been recorded, she would not have been damned in her in what she said. I agree 100%. I was more targeting like the whole thing with the ultimate motive in her saying it. But I agree with you. There's a way we walk through the door. Like I said, this has been this dress code thing. Even when I went to work, it's funny because I was saying this on with Pastor KL one day. I had my church clothes, I had my regular everyday clothes, and I had my street. Every clothes I had a way to dress. When I went to work, I didn't look like I was going to the park. Right. And we didn't have a dress code. You could wear your jeans and your sneakers and stuff like that. But the position that I held, y'all looking to me for all of this stuff. I can't look like y'all.
Right.
Y'all need to be able to see a difference. No, I didn't go in with a suit, every day like that. But I did. You could tell the difference between admin and the rest of the building. You could tell the difference between the warehouse workers and sales. Even there, you should have seen a difference between even in their dress. So I think one of the things is, again, your mentality dictates. You want people to take you seriously, then you got to step your game up. I know this is a day of, we should all be able to do our jobs the way we want to, and things. I don't agree. I don't agree at all. And I had to tell y'all, when Shantice was showing the picture before, for some reason I'm not looking at it here. I'm looking at it there, and my eyes could not figure out what this gray thing was. I was like, is that the couch? Her sitting on a couch? It never occurred to me, stupid, look at your iPad. But if that's the way she walked through your door, automatically I would have been questioning.
You wouldn't have been walking through my door.
Right. That's automatically.
I wouldn't have believed that you the help I just spoke to.
This is why I said I don't care nothing about the lanyard hanging on your neck.
Right.
I need to see you telling me CPS is coming. Does CPS look like one of her schoolmates? Something wrong here. I need somebody to walk through the door who's going to exemplify authority without even opening up your mouth. She's going to have some kind of fear that somebody's coming to do something about her. Since you feel I can't do nothing about you, I'm calling the authorities. Well, that didn't look like that one. That's why the girl was probably recording her, because you ain't look like no level of authority. All right, we got a couple of minutes. I got a story for you ladies. Thank you. I got another wild story for you. And this here, we really need to discuss uses. because something is wrong. And and Tamika gonna get a kick out of this one. Lady Tamika gonna get a kick out of this one once I start giving the details. So I have a man. We're in a relationship. We've been dating for 3 years. Michaela and Lucas are now, she's 27 years old, Michaela, and she is with her man, Lucas. Lucas didn't want to go out to eat. So Michaela wanted to go out to eat this particular night. And Lucas said, no, let's stay home. You know, it doesn't say why necessarily. It doesn't say why. It just says he's 25 years old and they were discussing going out to eat. Well, his suggestion was, let's not go out to eat. I can just take a chicken, put it in the air fryer, and make it happen. Well, Michaela was not up for that conversation. She was not up for that arrangement and ended up stabbing Lucas in the chest because she did not want to go, because he didn't want to go out to eat with her. She said that instead he wanted to just stay at home and cook chicken in an air fryer, and that's not what she wanted. When they were transporting her from the house to the police station, she said out loud, I should have just went to the bar because this whole thing is irritating. They took him to the hospital, and unfortunately, he did not make it.
Oh.
That one stab to the chest was a fatal stab wound, and he did not make it. And she openly said also, well, if his parents didn't like me before, I know they hate me now. If they hated me before, I know they hate me now. They have been dating for about 3 years. And this is where we are in life. They have Michaela in custody on $2 million bond, and she has to go back to court later on this month. And if she's convicted, needless to say, she can get life in prison. Now, I bring this to you ladies today because this is not abnormal of the stories that we've been talking about, but I want to talk about us. So last week we had a conversation on knowing when to leave, right? And this week we had a conversation about what, all these things look normal, but they're indicators that something is really wrong. Why are we here? Why are we here? Where I'm dating you for 3 years. Now, there's something to, if they hated me before, I know they really hate me now. So clearly the parents must have seen, some family must have seen something before that they didn't care for. But as women, let's talk about the ladies. Last Friday I was extremely annoyed when we were talking about the men, and I had to hear, well, women do it too, because anybody that knows Pastor Steph knows I have no favorites. Guilt is guilt. Silliness is silliness. Mm-hmm. This whole, if whatever you do, you are held responsible for. I don't care if I'm talking to the women. I don't care what the men are doing. I want to talk to us about us today. And I would love to have this conversation, not with just you ladies, but the ladies in the room. What is happening to us today? Last week we talked about, Vivian's story was throwing a stick of dynamite in the boyfriend's bed. You know, she had warned him about the dynamite. Why are we hanging around so long that if you, after an argument, you done made me so mad that I'm gonna throw a stick of dynamite in the bed when you sleep? Why am I so angry with you that you don't want to go out to dinner with me, that I stab you in the chest and kill you over this? Shanti's gonna give you first dibs, since normally we go with Lady Tamika first.
There's a few different aspects. I believe it's one, this whole image thing. So I get to take a picture of my food on a regular plate instead of a paper plate because we went out. And now I get footage of us going out that I can now post on social media. Versus if we in a house, who does that? We're young. We don't stay in the house and cook. We go out. So why are you talking to me like we're in our 40s and our 50s? You know, two, it goes back to what you kept asking about know when it's time to leave. I think we underestimate a lot of times how we feel about the investment that we make.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's, I done been with you for a year, for 2 years, for 3 years, even though you're completely garbage in my eyes, or I feel like I could do better, but I done invested all this time with you. So now I want things to be the way I want them to be with you, instead of breaking up with you or leaving you or allowing you to walk away from me. And now I will try to start over and make this all over again with someone else. Meanwhile, there's a lot of bitterness and resentment and everything that's building up in you that now equals to this. Because this was not the first time he didn't suggest that y'all don't go out and spend money for whatever reason. You know, this is just the time you got this fed up. Even if he said it, but you were able to break him down and y'all went out. This is not the first time he suggested this. So now, for whatever's going on in your mind, and now you done got to the point where you done picked up this knife and stabbed him, because I just have to take my picture of my food on a regular plate instead of this Dixie plate. But if you had your life right, you got regular plates at home. But, you know, I think a lot of it has to do with the investment. And people are not understanding that just because you put time into it doesn't mean you really invested anything. You just wasted time. Mm-hmm. And a lot of it also has to do with image. Because listen, he ain't say I ain't feeding you. He just said we ain't eating out there. Let's eat here. You know? So it's, I believe it's a lot of different things, but those two things mainly come to mind for me.
Alrighty. Ketty says, it seems like the women are more aggressive now than before. I don't know if there's something in the alcohol or drugs, but there is something definitely wrong. Lady Tamika, what's your take on where there's a breakdown here in our psyche, in our intention. What is happening? Or what has happened?
There's clearly a huge breakdown. You know, when you get to the point where you're fighting over who takes the microwave first. You know, when you decide to, I'm so agitated that I'm going to throw this dynamite at you. You know, you have argued over things over and over again. You know, 3 years in a relationship, Michaela and Lucas. Y'all done been at a baby shower arguing. Y'all been at the family engagements. You know, everybody's going out and Lucas decides to invite Michaela and she acts all out. So the family has already told Lucas, you know what? Mama has said something, daddy has said something, even a sibling or a cousin has said, either that or they tried not to say anything because they felt like if they said something to Lucas, then it becomes an all uproar. But you as the individual, Lucas, you knew that there was something. You knew this wasn't the first time. Like all of a sudden y'all got in an argument about going out. Maybe he decided he didn't want to go out because he knows how Michaela is. She gonna get out there and show out. And so you know what?
Yeah.
Let's just stay home and we can do an air fried chicken, and the fact that he was feeding her, and so you have to know within the signs are clear. A lot of times we want to, oh well, it's this, and oh it's with that. We've said that plenty of times. Oh well, she does that because we looked at all the signs. The calling you all day and checking your phone or texting you when you're at work. I'm trying to do my job, and so pay attention to the signs, because if you don't, it could be detrimental to your life. We've already seen at least 4 or 5 instances this week where somebody has killed somebody over something. And I do chime in with Shantice. A lot of times you're investing in stuff and it's disastrous, but I'm here, I'm hanging on to, it's a thread. It ain't good for me. It can kill me, but I'm hanging on to it. You gotta know when to literally cut the line and do you, because at this point it could be detrimental to your entire life.
Absolutely. I'm looking here again, and they say authorities mention that Michaela said as they were transporting her, I should have just went to the bar. This whole thing is irritating. So you are not even expressing remorse
None.
for the fact that you just stabbed this man. So if we want to say, well, you know what, she wasn't thinking, she just picked up the knife and just stabbed him.
Nope.
She didn't say it was self-defense. She didn't say anything like, oh, wow, I can't even believe it got that far. I can't believe I did that. I can't believe, I love him and I can't. No, she said, I should have just went to the bar, and this whole thing is irritating. And this just lends to her psyche. Mm-hmm. And this is why I say to you ladies, there's a serious breakdown here. And I want to talk about this investing. There is a young man who had a conversation with me. And he was like, Steph, she's this, he lives with a woman and they have one child together. He has other children on the outside. She has no children, but this one with him. And they live together. And he's, when she pisses me off, I don't go cheat on her. I just leave the house and I just walk out and, I just come back when I want to come back. And, I could get my own place. She doesn't work. He said, I could get my own place, but I don't want to get my own place because of this and because of that. And this is, it's not good. At his own admittance, it's not good. So I said, well, let me ask you something. Why not just get your own place? I said, if y'all going through all of this, sever your ties now. You could still be a dad because you're a dad to the other ones. You could still be a dad to this child. I said, but what good is it doing y'all with this, all you're describing? You can get your own place. Just go ahead. Get your own place and visit. That way, when she get on your nerves, you can pack up and go ahead to your own place. You ain't got to worry about, because of course, with you popping up and leaving, what does she think? You're cheating. Mm-hmm. When you're in your phone, what is she thinking? You're cheating. Mm-hmm. So, and he said, I'm not, Steph, I'm not cheating. I just need some air. I just need to get away. So I said, why are you going through all this? Young. Well, no, not young anymore. I don't know any young people anymore. All the young people are now old people, but young, if you will. And I said, why are you going through all of this? I said, you still have the rest of your life as God spares. Why are you putting yourself through this? He said, nah, I ain't going nowhere. And I'm saying to myself, this investment business, mm-hmm. What is this about this investment business? Technically, again, you have not invested anything. You've just parlayed there. No real investment. Let's talk about this thing. It's almost like talking about love and then talking about God's love. You know what I'm saying, y'all? It ain't love, because if it ain't God's love, it's not love. Y'all calling it investment, but at the end of the day, it's not investment. So are you really investing by every time she gets on your nerves, you pop up and you leave? There's no investment there. I'm like, help me understand. So I literally asked him, I said, why are you staying if you're unhappy? Is it because you don't want to live alone? These are other issues that we for females and for males. But I want to go back, and I brought that up because I'm talking about this investment. I've had women talk to me about how much they despise the man that they're with, the names that they call them, the way they express. And I said, well, why don't you leave? I invested all of this time. No, y'all been fighting for years. Y'all been arguing for years. Neither one of you are happy. So what is the investment? We have moved into a horrible place where you could put a knife in a man's chest and your response is, I should have just went to the bar. This whole thing was irritating. Your biggest irritation is you didn't go to the bar. Not your regret is I didn't go to the bar. Not I should have walked out the house. Not that I should have, just left. No. This is some serious stuff. Y'all talk about image. Chanti's raised image. You want to be able to take a picture and see, what is it about image, ladies, that we hold on to? And I'll ask you first, Tamika. Well, what is it? What is the image that we're trying to hold on to and we're trying to portray?
The way that I look at this is the enemy has a way of craftiness of allowing us to visualize. For instance, God has created marriage. And when you seek your spouse, you seek God first. You don't just go out and start, when you're in the level of dating, you inquire with God before you take that vow. God, is this the right thing, or should I let him go? As a man, should I look for another? Is this the right thing? And the enemy has a way of duplicating or imitating what God has created. So what people do in their mind is, I'm married, but you're really not. You haven't done anything. You haven't done the vow. And my thing is, with the confines of marriage, God has designed for us to stay together. And I think what happens is in relationships, we get that mindset that we're supposed to be together. Yeah, he beats me, but we still together. I can barely see out of one eye, but we still together. And I'm looking at this back and forth, the whole thing of seething. He's asleep, and you in the kitchen and you fine. You hear him, moving around in the house, not married, moving around in the house, and you're angry because now he's awake, he's moving, and anytime that you're not comfortable because this person is there, that's the sign. That's the sign. How much more do you need? You're angry in conversation. All they did was walk in the room. There are signs, and you have to pay attention. Don't disregard this. And we still together. This investment and this image of we look good on paper. We look good when we go out. We look good when we dress together. And in actuality, when you come home, half of your house is torn apart because y'all throwing things at each other. Y'all breaking windows. Y'all angry over little things. She's not cooking you what you would like to eat. She making you hot dogs and she's eating salmon. This is how it starts. It's little things. They keep building and keep building. Then you start doing things just like little children. I do this. I knock this down. So now you break that. You break, and you're doing things to hurt one another. That is definitely not what God designed. And I think that somewhere in that ideal of we look good. When we hang out, when people always say we such and such and such, and in actuality, you're falling apart. You're ripping at the seams.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Shartiz, what is it about this image that is so important? Why is it important that we have this, look, whether it's real or not?
I'm about to say, because it's not like yesterday when you confront and the front is good. People see y'all ain't about nothing. I can tell y'all ain't used to going out. I can tell y'all ain't really got no money. I can tell y'all really don't like each other. You just posting for the gram, or you just, you trying to follow the hat. Now the thing is, especially on Instagram stories, it's the filter, post your last pic on your birthday, or post your pic on vacation, post your pic when you were in Mexico. So now I post my picture when I was in Mexico and I put that filter on, and now you hit that and then you upload yours. Everybody wants to be able to do that. Do that now. That's the new way of keeping up with the image on social media. That's one of the new ways of keeping up with the image on social media. And that's not conducive of what God is doing. God is calling for authenticity. He's calling for genuineness with you yourself, by yourself. Forget if you coupled up with a friend, a family member, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, a husband, or a wife, your children. You by yourself, he's calling you out to be authentic. Now, you can either let him fix you, so by the time he says, I'm going to show this authentic you, it's someone who's still struggling, because everybody's struggling, but someone who's a lot more integral and a lot more on point. Or you can let him show the authenticity in you now with the slowness and the remedial work and everything that needs to be done. So that is up to you. That your obedience will dictate that. But this whole image of how I want to be seen, it's what you put out there. And now the enemy is just playing on what you put out there. Because if you show that, there's nothing, everybody, I don't care who you are, be quiet if you say you're not, because it's mainly you. I would like to be able to go on vacation. I would like to be able to say I have a man. I would like to be able to say I have a woman, even if it's not something that's on top priority. These are things that we've been conditioned to want to do, conditioned to like to do. And there's nothing wrong with it. Again, like Lady Tamika said, God designed marriage and all of that. So already naturally, you're desiring relationships, not only intimate relationships, but relationships. Okay, cool. Who wouldn't like to just wake up today and say, you know what? I would like to go to Vegas today. I would like to go to Atlantic City today. I would like to go out to eat today or to the movies today. Who wouldn't like to do that? I'm mad they closed our nearest movie theater that we could walk to, because that was one of the spontaneous things I used to love doing. I'll wake up today, what's playing? Oh, bet I ain't got to really travel nowhere. I can just go to the movies. But now that's not good enough. Now I got to look like the other broke people who can't afford to do this either, but they spending their mortgage and their rent to do it. And now I want to say, I'm broke like, hey, neighbor, I'm broke like you. But let's spend our last and let's risk eviction next month, because we're going to now go to Dubai, because that's what everybody is doing. No, instead of being content with what you have, where you are, asking God to teach you how to make it work, being honest and looking over and saying, I really don't like you. Why are we together? No, it's because image says I either don't say it to you or I say it to you, but we still stay together because this is what we want to portray. Because the little 5 minutes of feel good is better than me not having any type of feel good, any minutes at all. So now I'll take, and there's a verse to talk about that too. I'll take the 5 minutes, even if that means that for the next 500 million minutes, I'm locked up. But because it's 5 minutes, I'm willing to take that. So we really have to let go of this image, because whose image are you going after? It's not God's image. And that's what you have to ask yourself.
And there's a level of competition as well, and sometimes the competition is not necessarily with people you know. Sometimes competition is right in your head. You know,
Right,
trying to
right.
make one up on whatever. You know, we don't even know what's in your head, but you still competing. Yeah, we look good on. You look how we look when we go out, and as
Yep.
soon as you take that
Yep.
picture, he punches you in the face.
Yep. Yep. Or you stabbing him in the heart.
That too, right? Crazy.
Yes. Yes. Like you said, there's now the behind the scenes really comes out. Absolutely. Thank you, ladies. You have been fantastic as always. And thank you for your contribution into today's conversation. And we pray you have a blessed day.
Have a blessed
Thank
day.
you too.
Thank you. Thank you. We got a check-in from Shakira. Hey, girl. Thank you for joining us. Long time no here. Hope that you and the children are well. You know, as I spoke and brought this story up, a whole lot of things just started surfacing, you know, coming up in my head as the ladies were talking. And I want to bring up the women's conference because that's one of the things that came up. And I'll be a little transparent. I have been going through hell. I mean, hell. Yesterday, when I tell you I was so broken down, hell, oh my God, hell. And I realized that the enemy is on my heels because I am on the verge of a major breakthrough here. This year, God's shift to this particular awareness walk, prayer walk, you know, God let me know from very early when he gave me this design for this year's conference that I'm on the verge of something large, that this go through as planned. The result is going to be much larger than July 25th because it's going to launch me into something. And yesterday I was at my breaking point. I was really at my breaking point. And it's just Shantice and myself. Remember, we talked about venting one-to-one. I was, when I tell you, so broken down and despondent. When I talk about don't grow weary and well-doing, I was like mush yesterday because I have run into such an opposition. And in the back of my head, I could hear the Spirit of the Lord saying, this is designed to break you because you're on the verge of something big. And when I went to bed, you know, I was determined, you know, okay, so when I wake up, God you spare my life in the morning, I'm going to have a different, you know, because I had a chance to think and stuff like that and kind of get myself together and, you know, realize some things and be reminded of some things and, you know, think about some of God's promises and some of the word that has been given to me over my life and understanding, you know, you've been told this by God himself, confirmed by man, but it's not anything that God has not given you. And you just gonna have to figure out how to stand tall here, get it done, figure it out, make it happen, so forth and so on. But what happened was, as we were just talking, and this came up, and I asked the question, what is happening with us women? It took me back to the women's conference and why God gave it to me. I questioned God when I got the women's conference because I've never gotten anything to do that was typical. I was like, oh, here we go with a women's conference. Everybody's doing a women's conference. Everybody's doing this. Everybody. But I'm not seeing the result that's needed, and I'll tell you why. One of the reasons is money. I was invited to a women's conference the other day. Well, it just keeps coming. They just keep sending out the announcement. And I was like, you know what, Stephanie, you do have to go out and support. And, you know, you need to pay attention, you know, because this is coming up. You need to, because I've been absorbed in all of the stuff that I have to do. And when I reached out and saw it was $175, I was annoyed. Because I just got finished talking to someone about their event Christian event, $175. And I'm saying, okay, so what do we want? Do we want the money or do we want God's message to get across? Because guess what? Both things are not going to be done. Not at $175. Why? Because it's not doable these days. People have real obligations. And, listen, if people are tithing and they're giving offering to their church and they're being obedient to that, then even before, because it's a hard sell to tell people, listen, put that 10, that's your first 10%. Put that up first. God's going to take care of everything else. And we've done that. We've tried God, and that has happened. So now you want me to take the stuff that God has left me to take care of my personal bills, my medicine, my food. That seems to be a luxury these days. I'm supposed to do all of this and come to your $175. So I can't tell you, I haven't seen a women's conference for anything more reasonable than that. I cannot, less reasonable than that. Y'all get what I'm saying. It's just too much money. And even if you want to do it, listen, just being ready and willing is different than being able. And I'm saying we've got so much word out here, but we can't get to the word because we got to get past the dollar. So again, as we're talking, then God reminded me, this is why I'm giving you what I'm giving you to do. Because these talks need to happen. So why am I saying all of this? Because it's just a matter of getting to these women. Getting to these women, and that, like I said, they ain't very young anymore. These are women even in their 40s and 50s that are in these relationships. This woman was 27. The other day, Vivian's story about the girl with the dynamite she was 39. We had a story the week before about the woman who stabbed her boyfriend in the leg after they had an argument, and he went and laid down. And the challenge was it self-defense because she actually let him walk off and she went behind him. And again, we don't know when to leave. And these conversations need to be had. We got to get these women together. We've got to get everybody on one opportunity to get them together, to see the need to continue to have these conversations. You cannot just have such valuable information for these women and men, but yet they can't get to the information because they can't get past the dollar. The reason why God gave me the conference, in addition to all the other conferences, is because I'm not worrying about the dollar. This year, we're only asking for $12 to get your shirt and walk and pray. That's it. Something you should be doing anyway. If you're a woman of God or a man of God, you should be doing anyway. 12 measly dollars in comparison to that $475, $200. And getting these women, these men, and these children, because it's women only because it's executed by the women, but everybody's invited. Men have absolutely raved about, and I'm not lying, there's no reason for me to lie, raved about this conference. I had a woman tell me, my husband doesn't sit through church service. We sat here all day and he's still not ready to leave. I'm walking around talking and he's still sitting over there. He was like, no, just go do what you do. He said, I'm having a good time. She said, and he ain't like that. Older. So we're doing something. We're doing something right. And we need to get to these women. So I'm making an appeal to you. If you have not already signed on with us, Shanti's put the link into the chat room before we go, please, or the phone number, the 513 phone number. Reach out to us so that you can be a part of this day. We had Adele on the other day who did a fantastic job about domestic violence and abuse. This is only part of what we're going to be doing. We need to reach our women. We need to gather as women. We need to be able to talk these things out. I think one of the problems is people don't want to go to church. That, if church were real church, I've had people who've had a hard time worshiping with us because church ain't church to them. They're accustomed to having church this way, having church that way. Everybody's got high heel shoes and a big old hat on, and everybody's praise the Lord. And no, God does not have me operating like that. It's we talk, we flush it out. We don't worship the way other people have worship service. God has us doing something different. And I'm telling you, it has not been palatable to a many. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because it is a design for those who need it. These people they don't need church. They don't need the screaming. They don't need the yelling. They don't need the tarrying. They don't need the tambourines, because that's not going to mean as much to them as what we do. We need to talk about everyday issues via the Bible. And I've had many conversations. Oh, we used to do church this way. We used to do church that way. And I would, no, it's okay. I'm fine. I am fine. I'm not shifting it for anybody. You come in and you join us. If it's not for you, it is not for you. And that's the same way this conference is going down. It is not, so everybody can step their game up and now they become more holy. Not that kind of holy. Not that level of holy. I don't need you so holy and you praising the Lord that you can't even get to. Do you know how many women I know right now praising the Lord with their big church hats on and all their high heel shoes, and they all walk around with the Bible, but yet they are in miserable relationships. Their husbands don't even allow them outside of their church. And there are women, I'm telling you, that I can't even get to visit the conference. They don't come out of 2 churches. That's it. Because their husband doesn't want them with other women. Their husbands don't believe that women should be pastors. But they holy. But when they go to church, the spirit is high, and the Lord was in the room, and we welcome God in the house, and the spirit was there. And yet you're miserable at the end of the day. When you leave home, you're miserable. When you leave church, you are confined to one dimension because your husband has got you in a box. That's not this. We need to get together as women of God and get to what God wants for us. And now get that out to the women that don't know God. See, we can't minister because we are lacking what we need to be able to minister with. Yeah, that's what happens. That's why we can't reach the women. That's why we can't gather. I just told you, I'm telling you, there are husbands that won't even allow the fellowship. They'll say, hi, how are you? They'll exchange numbers, but they will not. They won't cross that border. And I look at them and I pity them, because I'm saying to myself, well, what kind of life in the Lord is this? Because see, let me tell you something. The Lord said he came to not just give you life, but to give you life more abundantly. That means much better than you could ever even imagine. He says, I have my treasures stored up in heaven just for you. So why are we living a limited life here on earth when the word of God promises us so much? We don't have to be poor in anything once we give our lives to the Lord. That should open up a world of opportunity, a world of growth, a world of seeing things the way we've never seen them before. And we try to figure out, why do the women, not want to conform? Well, look at why. Look at why. We owe God's people the real truth. And that's not going out very much. It's not happening. So we got work to do. We've got real work to do. So if you have not joined on with us to come out to this conference on July 25th here in New York City, in Jamaica, Queens, please do so. Because the women that are signing on are phenomenal women. They are women on fire, women who are looking to grow, women who are looking to connect, women who are looking to just stop doing and being what they have been. They see themselves as different, and they haven't been given a chance to grow for whatever the reason is. And now they see the doors opening, and now they're ready to burst through. So come on, let's get this done. Let's do what needs to be done. Let's bless God, and let's do it the way He wants it done. We don't have to watch women like this. You know why women are like this? Let's just be frank, because we're not where we need to be. We're not where we're supposed to be. No, you're not the way you're supposed to be in Wisconsin, in New Jersey, in California, in Louisiana. We've talked about women, Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, and everywhere. North Carolina, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama. We've talked about women over the past few months. We've talked about women from all over the place. And God's people are all over the place. So why is this world suffering so badly? Why are we reading stories like this? Because people have not been introduced to God the proper way. All they keep hearing is about this fallible business that's going on. We got a lot of work to do. Let's work together to get it done. You've been watching It's Due Time with Pastor Steph. Join us Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. where we discuss matters of the heart, mind, and spirit. As you go through your day, just focus on not what's on this earth, but what's above, because what's here will only serve as a distraction. Remember, prayer changes things. It's Pastor Steph signing off, and I want to thank my Due Time crew, the ladies, for always coming through big time. Thank you for hanging out with us and helping us do what we do. We are reviewing The Chi tomorrow, the first season of The Chi. And as I was watching last night, it goes right back to what I just got finished talking about. I'm looking at the pockets of problems in our childhood and in children these days, in the breakdown of women, in the breakdown of our men. And I realize more and more, the more I watch, so people figure, well, I'm not watching all that stuff. That's not what I watch. Maybe we need to start turning on the TV to really see the condition of this world. Because clearly we're not getting it. But as I was watching this season, I was looking at what women are really going through, what children are really going through, what our men and our, this world is really going through. And we got work to do. So, even talking about it, even on this level, as reviewing it, as people of God, this should help us understand the work we need to do. And, again, everybody doesn't watch everything, and I'm okay with that. But I'm glad that God has given me an openness that I can see why He wants me on this platform as well, to review these movies, to review these TV shows, because that helps to equip me as to what's actually happening in another city right next door, with my own children, with other people's children, in my neighborhood and other neighborhoods. And when we stay closed, we're not going to grow. So hopefully you'll be with us tomorrow evening right here at 7:30, God spares, to be a part of My Two Cents, Shanti's, that Brooklyn guy, Ainsley, and myself as we review The Chi, the first season. And it's a show, it's a Paramount Showtime series. So hopefully you'll be able to join us. If not, I'll see you guys Spears tomorrow morning for Therapeutic Thursday. Until then, I love you.